Ebisi amame sanche obi mu na ha eye ekua Italy TV so. Ya ba de ebomodin se obetena se na afensu edi enkomo ni eye. Na sane e medi bia beso mo fi ha na nne wonam ba bia yetete ho nsem ne nkomo bebre. E de fa honorable Kennedy Akompre Japan ene Anas Aremeya Anas wo mo nkomodi hu yakwa akokpa ne se Anas edi nkonim e wo USA Mountain so na eye honorable pachew bargaining eye court se nko obeya nka 18 million US dollars no nka wo monte so emfa enye 10,000 US dollars samweni nkomo no eneyi no ekwakwa na asanso ede bia begbomu a ene utimu se frontline interception bia eneyi no lawyer ya wojiremu edema nas ene lawyer wojiremu edema honorable Kennedy Akompre Japan wo mo edi ene ya utimu sa no baba pa ya echiremu se Anas Aremeya Anas woni nkonim e wokwan bia so ma honorable Kennedy Akompre Japan edi eni ncho Anas wono adi ncho ama weyi edi nkonim ente sa ada ne nkomo no eneyi no ne nyina abebegu apaso menkasa pi mepese yebekwa kotie kokua na nsem a wokan ye ene afensu no wowieye na okopi mu nso e wo US nso a court sene nsem no sifa court so na lawyer ototo ne nsem na wodi sisi so makomako na afensu eye Anas ne no so ne lawyer nso ewurawura mu de nsem no bi efomu yekokotie a yebetimi ate nsem no emu enchimu eyie mekafo out one e de ama bomodin na eform number na ni omu eni nkasubom opese otukwan e de kwa no ne na yese tronso hwe bia out one e na mekamfo e de ama unti form number na eni omu eni nkomo so e na mekamfo Jiwa Hospital Limited e de asomo se yade no se office e ye krankra bomodin na kokoso hwe ho e na abehu se dade bi etwa dade form number na enso eni omu eni enkita ho so e na weekend drive esem kan kire se aso uni mood mu se obe drive here Empaba, don't hesitate to call them. Momode na frɛ wɔn na ɛne wɔn enkasa. Na betumi aboa sɛ wo kɔ Eastern region, Central region, Ashanti region. Baabi a opɛ sɛ wokɔ bia na ompɛ sɛ obɛ drive a, opɛ sɛ ofele reluctant and say luxurious a wɔn betumi aboa kama na wɔn edi wo adru wo destination. Sanso ɛna ɛyɛ prudent cakes and catering services. Wɔn nso ɛsɔ mensen mu ɛbɔ masedia na atenase bi apɛ sɛ wɔtena to nsa ede frɛ ni paado no wo frɛ wo a wo mu wanimu ase wo mu wanimu nso ase da eyeyo wedding party engagement dia job bia asetena bia food and cakes and catering service yanko tie Anas Aremeya Anas ne lawyer ene honorable Kennedy Akompre Japan enso lawyer ensema omukan ene kwakwa nan so de ori twato ya mabiem dia.
The Frontline has again intercepted an audio recording revealing the Defense Counsel for Kennedy Japan mounted a spirited pushback at the trial judge concerning some mistakes committed by the jurors. And the jurors, because and that's the plural word, the jurors. And the case in the JC court in the United States. And me pese wutie, and na me din kan ka kire said, Anas are emeyaw Anas ode maxi. Wedi ka ba bontia ba me yeti ase se. Anyo wedi nkunim. Na jurors no aye den ama ne judgment. Na no na make a assassin say no, wait a minute, don't get it twisted. As for them, they believe in twists and turns and propaganda and spinning. But the truth of the matter is say a brad judge ni rule jurors ni a verdict ni we pe. And a Kennedy lawyer no a catcher judge no, you can't. Or catching it straight so you can't give a ruling because mistakes be a koso. And some mistakes ni na ne koko we say as a some they call me trial. At least Kweku, I'm not a lawyer, but Massa, with our deep level in intelligence gatherings and investigations in MDS Anas eba be kan sa asem wanka, but an agree secure some information na me be bo me mo video version me bo the audio version actually say in video no ube who say jurors no wom and it's offense in the US court say ube yi video jurors no you protect them. Anas doesn't care on only video no jurors no mu wom me law abiding inti me bo audio version me tie nie ube te say abrofo no ube te Anas lawyer na e kasa ube te Kennedy Japan Defense Counsel also kasa slang ne dawson but yes so better ti audio ni ye ne ti asem a lawyer no o ka kire judge no about the mistrial case. Take a listen to this carefully.
This is what the jury said. In our initial finding, we awarded $18 million with a breakdown of presumed damages $5 million, actual damages $5 million, and punitive damages $8 million.
We're done.
No, Judge. I'm requesting a mistrial. They current to consider punitive damages in the initial, and you can't mold the verdict. I'm once again requesting a remitter based upon that, and a new trial should be granted based upon that response, Judge. They were not considered. They were outside of your. I'm just making a record, Judge, now, if I could. Those are outside your instructions. They were required to follow your instructions. They didn't follow your instructions. You're not permitted to mold that verdict because that's not form. A judge can only mold form. For instance, there's a lien, and you can mold the lien if the parties agree. You could pre-tax versus post-tax income. The judge is permitted to mold the verdict based upon the specific evidence that was presented. You are not allowed to mold that verdict. That's a remitter. There should be a new trial granted, and unfortunately, they did their job, and we should send them home.
Judge, basically, my thought is on their form, which is what was submitted to the court, it did state that it was presumed damages. On that basis, I believe that the instruction that your Honor should send back was that the punitive damages and the actual damages were not included in that judgment.
Mr. Forson.
I'd like to see the law, Judge. I think Your Honor is more than equipped than either of us to understand that when the jury sends that back and they haven't followed your instructions, and you can't send them back to re-deliberate, had they had that question during deliberations, you could have given an instruction, a curative instruction, and brought them in and said, punitive damages if not to decide, just decide. First of all, there should have been actual damages because there was only presumptive damages presented. There were no actual damages. And Judge, it's just simply a mistrial. It's a mistrial. We need to go no further.
Okay, so Mr. Forson, it's your request that we discharge the jury, right?
We discharge the jury, and you declare a mistrial. You put it back in the hopper. We'll be back in 6 to 8 weeks, either with Your Honor or another judge.
Okay, and what's your request, Mr. Chair?
My request is a curable. Is a curable error. I mean, they made a decision. Granted, it wasn't a decision supported by the instructions, but if they did come back and award punitives where they shouldn't have awarded punitives, Your Honor can correct that by curative instruction. So I don't see a mistrial here, but I leave it to your judgment, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm going to ask Mr. Tahir a question. So Mr. Forson, please don't interrupt. So, Mr. Tahir, why is it a valid verdict $5 million on presumed damages, $5 million on the actual damages, and $8 million on the punitive damages?
I would accept that. The only problem I have is that they weren't instructed on punitive damages, so that would go outside the instructions that Your Honor gave them. Yes.
Okay. And so, Mr. Forson, you want to say anything?
Yes, Judge. I'll use plaintiff's argument about unringing the bell. We have no idea if the actual and presumed damages would have been different had they followed your instructions. We can't go into their mind. Once they say that, Judge, they anticipated something they shouldn't have. It's not a valid verdict, and more importantly, Judge, the rules do not permit you to mold that verdict. It's not a question. You're not permitted to now change that verdict. Now, maybe if it was a different verdict sheet, things would have been different. If it was broken down separately, they would have had more clarity, but they didn't. But Your Honor is not permitted, once you find that out, to do anything else but cause a mistrial, because that verdict has been returned and it cannot be cured. You cannot go back and have them reconvene.
Well, Judge, this all boils down to Mr. Corriston's own insistence that we take punitive damages off the original verdict sheet. If you remember what I did, I put it on the second page, and then we had a break saying return to. So I think if they had the original verdict sheet, they would have recognized that they weren't supposed to go beyond the compensatory. But somehow he insisted that we take it off the verdict sheet completely and have a separate verdict sheet. And this is what has created this problem. It's curable, at least I think, but I leave it to your judgment, Your Honor.
Okay, the court's decision is we are going to bring a jury in, we'll discharge the jury, and then keep talking.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, please bring the jury in.
What's he? Mami say na. Did you see? Did you hear? What is the judge? What is asma judge in the kind? Nyame na me kasa. Ubia ankasem. Anas ankasem ubi. Kennedy Kwame Akumpre kon ankasem ubi. Obia ankase. Ghana ni bia ankase bi. Anas ankase bi. Oh. Ayen Anas Defense Council. Any Kennedy Kwame Akumpre ko Japan Council. Any judge no mudra hodi asie ni. Na what the Kennedy Japan Council na catch judge no. Also what? You cannot move this verdict. You cannot move this or kasa kire judge no. He we ni break kwan so. It's about the saying and mu be gina Ghana ha. E ka kire Ghana for say hey munya verdict and that $18 million. Ye be chase came obi anya bi edi. Ye be $18 million. Obia enya bi edi. Obia benya bi edie. Ye de bi be wo fufuo di bia wo aye tuoza afiade na ni kire ye ba be break fasting. Di bia wo tuoza afi di bia bo apesie fufuo num ne ade ye gugugu so num ne edidi ne anom. Why not? But I said nentesa it ade na mu be twa ntro. Now you know what? Anas Defense Council, me Papa Pana Sempa, he speaks so well, very constructive, very very good. Oh, you're very nice man. Me Penasem, the lawyer, yeah. Me mean Casentiano. Oh yeah, but I think say, Sadia, oh yeah, too fast enough. No be spinning around. Says when in the Caribbean church says, judgment, suppose judgment, written judgment, and well, folks, the lawyers for a year, friend is saying, Abrante didn't aquatrimi. Daniel Owusu Cranton, also known as Amache Womo Studio, they will join me shortly. But before, my young Manasuna Mene, director of research of this program, also an on person may expose it, BB. Our Humanaso, nearly name one year said. Adia na so koye ayetia ye justice system no saying so far your research analysis ayaye no ye ni lawyers bebre akasa nim ni ade ye de betu bia nche how so far the build up no it is saying and not Kofi jury is on the line Kofi memwajo na what is saying okay me hane de Mahama ne Professor Jena no Opoku Agyeman ye pen so a Good. All right. Now, Kofi, and somebody I say wait but most especially only a show Wednesdays will be basso. Now, and then we want you to stay on so far the research wire on the ground with respect to Anas taking our justice system to the cleanest. What have you uncovered so far?
So far, no. When it comes to the judicial service now, a lot of practitioners are not happy. Legal brains, they are not happy with the system. Once in the judicial, at what point in time, now, so who there, or yeah, judicial service, who do sometimes on your face.
Yeah.
Was it the time now? come on and continue.
And Grofona come on there in Ponche.
Oh, some more point. Just some more continue all using that.
That's right.
You part all man of continue bye that's why you wasn't easy and you all saw it. What is that time in here? When I have sometimes on your face. Another the time now. On your continue to home. Another the time of the terrorist. That's one question. Again, the same system of condemning for the person that made me a lawyer. So again, question BBC and also on the ground in the day, announcement of Ghana having a court case. A very sporty case now for America, and I will be to Ghana. Because service less one year, sometimes the flaws are due. If you say a case, these are kind of on the ground. And then I don't know if you want to live in Babanavi, but kind of cafe one can say you didn't want to. And the man now, why you know, Yada, every day, will be Ghana, then cost us to move. Papa, you court to move. But you don't keep what you are, I see. But take things down more than to say, you just said it. What is the mission of the you can give us some of the findings.
Kofi.
Now, make us say, per the research kakra, you know. And I said, into what you come in fancy, and then any number of flow pa. Research kakra, interviews the kakra, you know. Some of the legal, brains and one can say no one put one in Baba camera. And also they didn't want audio now. The moment was off record info one yanka that we can still give it out. If you are candidate, no problem at what point in time. And at last I remember young last who there would do sometimes Ghanaian court system no one shut down your face. Was it the period that no champion, another time on you question to court no. More when the do baby court system no one year fair. And that time I catch a terrorist no and when the sana one year fair. The same system now so according to some of them they made him a lawyer. The same system now all condemn no. It's at the end one guy did this question there. It is not see so a case for Ghana but about Ghanaian court are all condemn no. Another so there, where's 40 kids for America? That's one question that ABB said. Now, I'm very soon. I could also make a very important point today. In that case, now, last the point here by there. Court system, no, it has not always been, it has not always been fair, no. It will mean that the case is not Ankasa will deal with it, no. From the time I know by your NASA base in there, we still walk back, watch the Ninialim one by one, because this announcement bring out a very, very important point. The court system, do baby on Shada and Yafe, to the extent that they even failed to deliver judgment on his case. Man, then son come on us, Osan and Saka. In that case, no, they are planning there. I mean, they will push that agenda. Every case now, and why because of the concern, they have to go back to it. Because a lot of people have lost their lives, their businesses, and other things. It's you bringing this concern.
Yes.
These are some of the things that we've been persuaded. So some of the things that are there,